Hello everyone, this is Isra Youssef. This video is actually a revision for the final exam for grade 7 at Finnish Systems Schools. The final exam material, the things that are included in your final exams. In the comprehension section, you have The Last of the Mohicans. You have Unit 9, the passage which is The Last of the Mohicans from pages 220 to 226 is 27. Sorry. The grammar, all the grammar are included in your final exam. All the grammar, which is comparing with adjectives, adverbs, the simple, compound, complex sentences, the sentence structure. All the grammar is included in your final exam. The vocabulary, you should be careful here. The vocabulary, you have the two passages, which are the Hurricanes and The Last of the Mohicans. The words in these two passages are included in your final exam. Now, in the part which is the comprehension, you would have The Last of the Mohicans. The Last of the Mohicans is actually I put points for you, headlines, main ideas. You should know, you should be familiar with them, you should understand them so that you can answer easily. The war was between Britain and France. The war was actually between Britain and France. Cora and Alice are Colonel Monroe's daughters. Cora and Alice are accompanied with Magua and Howard. When they were trying to get to their father, they were accompanied with Magua and Howard. France and India are the two groups allied against Britain. In the war which is Britain against France, India was with France against Britain. James Fenimore Cooper, he wrote the novel which is The Last of the Mohicans. You have here the character analysis, which is Alice, Monroe. They are his daughters. Alice, she was girlish and young. She has a blonde hair, fair skin, and weakness made her a conventional counterpart to the racially mixed the fairy Cora. While on the other hand, you have Cora. Cora is actually she has a dark complexion that derives from her mother's Negro background. She attracts the love of the Mohican warrior, which is who is Angus. So Cora loves Angus and Alice loves Howard. Hawkeye is actually the hero of the novel. He's a hunter, Scot, and woodsman. He moves more comfortable in the forest than in the civilization, so he's a forest man. He has close bonds with the Indians, particularly with Shingekuk and Ankus. He actually provides a link between the Indians and the whites. So he's actually the link or the line between the Indians and whites. Shingekuk and Ankus, they are the last Mohicans warrior. Shingekuk is the father of Ankus's father. Ankus is actually Shingekuk's son. He's the youngest last member of the Indian tribe known as the Mohicans, so he's the last Mohican warrior. He falls in love with Cora, and we have the novel gets conflicts and complex when Magua is trying to take Cora and marry her. Magua is actually the villain, the novel's villain. He falls in love with Cora and he tries to take her as his wife, even if she don't want to. So he's actually the villain of the novel. So this is actually the headlines, the things you should know, you should understand, because they are the most, I put for you the most important ideas in the novel. Now, the vocabulary that are included in your final exam, the words that are in the Hurricane passage, plus the words that are in the Last of the Mohicans passage. I sent for you a worksheet. A worksheet has been sent for you recently. So you should check this worksheet because it has like the most important words that are included in your final exam. Now let's move to the grammar section. The grammar, I told you that all the grammar that you have took it is included in your final exam. So comparing with adjective. Now if comparison with er and est. I have adjectives with only one syllable. So if I'm comparing, when I say comparative, I mean that I'm comparing between two things, two people, two things, two places, and so on. When I say superlative, I'm comparing between more than two people. I'm comparing between three people, four, one to all. So I'm comparing between more than two people. Now you have like examples. So I would add er if I have a comparative when I'm comparing between two. And I would add est if I have an adjective with one syllable. If I'm comparing between more than two people. Adjectives with two syllables and the following endings. Now, I have adjectives with two syllables and they have a certain endings. Now, I could have adjectives with two syllables ending in y. For example, dirty, easy, happy, pretty. So there are like two syllables ending with y. Now, if I have an adjective ending with y preceded by a consonant. Consonants, we mean by consonants which are all the letters except the vowels. If I have the y ending with if I have an adjective with two syllables ending with a y preceded by a consonant, I would replace the y into I, then I would add er or est according to how many things I'm comparing with. So if I'm comparing between two, I would put er plus replacing the y into I. I would replace the y into an I. And if I'm comparing between more than two things, two people, two places, and so on, I would replace the y into an I and would add est. You have examples, so easy, easier, easiest. So as you can see here, I replaced the y into an I. Okay? Now, adjectives with two syllables ending in er. I have like adjectives with two syllables ending with er. For example, clever. Clever is actually, it ends with er. So in comparative, I would add er also, cleverer. Superlative, it would be cleverest. So I would add er or est according to how many things I'm comparing with. Adjectives with two syllables ending in la. For example, simple. This person is simple. So I would add only r if I'm comparing between two. So I would say simpler. And I would add est if I'm comparing between more than two in superlative. So it would be simplest, simpler, simplest. So I would add only r in the case of comparative, comparing between two. And I would add est if I'm comparing more than two. Adjectives with two syllables ending in ow. For example, narrow. Narrow, it ends with ow. I would add er, narrower, narrowest in the case of superlative. So I would add er, est, er in the case of comparative, est in the case of superlative. Okay, now you have the spelling of the adjectives using the endings er, est. For example, you have the word which is large, in the comparative larger, superlative largest, so you'd leave out the silent a. Now here, double the consonant after a short vowel, doubling the consonant after a short vowel. So big, it would be bigger, biggest. So it depends. Okay, if you have like a vowel, if you have a word which ends in the consonant, okay, and it is preceded by a vowel, and the vowels are O-E-A-U-A. If you have like a word which ends with a consonant, for example, big, it ends with a consonant and it is preceded by a vowel, which is I would double the consonant and I would add ER or EST according to the case I have. If I'm comparing between two, I would use the comparative. If I'm comparing between more than two, I would use the superlative. And we talked about the if to replace the Y with an I if it is preceded by a consonant. Now here you have the word shy. Shy is actually, it ends with a Y and it is preceded by a consonant. So here the Y is not changed to I, although consonant before Y. So you have like some exceptions. We have some exceptions. We don't replace the Y, and they are like really few. So shy, it would be shyer, shyest. I would not replace the Y into an I. Comparison with more and most. Comparison to compare with more and most. We compare with more and most with all adjectives that are more than one syllable, except some adjectives with two syllables, and we have to talk about these exceptions. Now, you have the adjective which is difficult. Difficult is actually more than one syllable. So I'd say more difficult if I'm using the comparative, if I'm comparing between two, and the most difficult if I'm comparing between more than two. I would use the word most. So most is actually for superlative, more is for comparative, which is comparing between two. You should be careful here. More with comparative, most with superlative, according to how many people, places, things I'm comparing with. Okay? Irregular adjectives. I would have, you have two irregular adjectives. You have the word good. Good in comparative, it would change into better. In superlative, it would be best. The best, okay? So you should memorize these two adjectives because they are irregular. Bad, we would change it into the comparative, which becomes worse. And in superlative, it becomes the worst. Okay, so we change it completely. So this is why we call them irregular adjectives. The four types of sentence structure. You have simple, compound, complex, and compound, complex. The simple sentence structure. When you have a simple sentence, consists of one independent clause. An independent clause which contains a subject, a verb, and expresses a complete thought. So this is actually the simple sentence. It has only one independent clause which can stand alone. For example, I like coffee, Mary likes tea, and so on. So simple sentence has only one independent clause, and this one independent clause, it can stand alone. The compound sentence structure. Compound is two or more independent clauses joined by a conjunction or semicolon. Each of these clauses could form a sentence alone. So, compound sentence, it contains of two independent clauses, but these two independent clauses are connected together by a coordinating conjunction. For example, I like coffee and Mary likes tea. I like coffee. This is an independent clause. Mary likes tea. This is another independent clause. They are joined together by a coordinating conjunction, which is and. Okay, so you have 7 coordinate conjunctions, and we put them into a word which is fanboys. And, but, or, nor, for, yet, and so. These are the coordinated conjunctions. So the compound sentence, it includes with two independent clauses joined together by a coordinating conjunction. Okay, the complex sentence structure. A complex sentence consists of an independent clause plus a dependent clause. This dependent clause, which can't stand alone, starts with a subordinating conjunction or relative pronoun and contains a subject and verb but does not express a complete thought. So actually, complex sentences include it contains an independent clause and you have a dependent clause. This dependent clause, it starts with a subordinated conjunction or a relative pronoun. For example, our dog barks when she hears a noise. He left in a hurry after he got a phone call. Do you know the man who is talking to Mary? He asked some common subordinating conjunctions. We have like some common subordinated conjunctions after, although, as, because, before, how, if, once, since, then, that, although, till, and so on. So actually the complex sentence, it contains of independent clause and a dependent clause. This dependent clause, it can't stand alone and it starts with a subordinating conjunction. You have like the subordinate conjunctions below. The compound complex sentence structure. Complex sentence consists of at least two independent clauses and one or more dependent clauses. So this compound complex, it has like at least two independent clauses and one or more dependent clause. So you'd have independent clause, subordinate conjunction, dependent clause, coordinating conjunction, independent clause. John did not come because he was ill, so Mary was not happy. So John did not come. This is an independent clause. Because he was ill, this is a subordinating conjunction plus a dependent clause. So Mary, which is a coordinated conjunction. Mary was not happy. This is an independent clause. He left in a hurry after he got a phone call, but he came back 5 minutes later. Now, you have like questions, exercise according to the sentence structures. We have to go to bed when the clock chimes on 10 o'clock. So it is actually a complex sentence. Why? Because I have the subordinated conjunction. I have an independent clause plus a dependent clause and a subordinate conjunction, which is when. Many brave soldiers fought in the war and they received medals. Many brave soldiers fought in the war and they received medals. You have like two independent clauses. They are joined together by a coordinated conjunction, so it is a compound sentence. The teacher and the principal met in the hall near the library. It's actually a simple sentence. I don't have two independent clauses. I have only one independent clause, which I have like one thought, one complete thought. Now, the adverbs. You should remember that an adverb is a word that generally describes a verb. Adverbs describe verbs by telling how, when, or where an action happens. Many adverbs end in ly. Some adverbs that tell you how. You have examples. And you have like some adverbs that tell you when. You have also examples. And there you have some adverbs that tell you where. And you have examples. Now you have like exercises on the adverbs. Choose the correct answer. What is the adverb in? And Sonia always wanted to be a reporter. So the adverb here, which is always. What is the adverb in? The news director plans the assignment carefully. It is actually carefully. What does the adverb recently in Aunt Sonia visited Paris recently tells you? It tells me when. When Aunt Sonia visited Paris, the answer would be recently. What does the adverb quickly? And thanks to the news broadcast, we quickly learn what is happening tells you. So it actually tells me how. It tells me how, okay? The revision has ended. I really hope that it was useful. Please study well and stay safe. This is your teacher, Isra Yusuf. Bye-bye.